he is a Junkrat looking for some advice. And he gave us a review to go over. This was 3100. Thank you, Shadic. So this was a 3500 or 3100. I've already pre-looked at it, wrote down some notes, and we're just gonna go over it like we normally do. And I'll say what I see wrong, and then I have the essentially the synopsis, if you will. Also, it's really weird. You see on the bottom left? There's ball. Oh, I guess he already spawned it. That's what happened. Makes sense. Never mind.
Ready for battle.
So we'll just stay on his point of view, and I'll be fast forwarding it and unforwarding it and stuff like that.
One.
Yep. Normal stuff. Also, he's on the red team. The blue team is evil. I know. It's completely different from what everyone's used to. There's no problem. People are getting in the way. That's fine. You're building alt charge. You're creating what could be opportunities. Try to create an opportunity there, but ball kind of surprised you. And now at this point, I will note that like you're chilling in mid-range or just an open area often there, and that's kind of a common theme you'll have every now and then. But just watch being in the open ground. This is also Jesus. How do I pause? Options. Controls. What do we got? Yeah, decrease. Yeah. Where's pause? Control P. Or the A button. Yep, that's what it is. So we'll speed it up a smidge. And here we have, what I'm gonna say is, like, it's one of the lower SR common themes. Almost everyone does it. You have a habit of running at people as you're shooting them. And so we'll see it right here. I'll just slow it down so we have time to talk. You kind of skip everyone, you run at them, you throw a trap, and then you kind of run back. You kind of give up your positioning to throw a trap that didn't really accomplish much. You can stay on the high ground and just kind of attack people from there, throw a trap to the low ground. That's all common stuff. You do not have to give up your positioning, you do not have to run at them to actually attack them. That's just something you don't want to be doing, and you often do it here. That's fine. Tire could have got more. Big whoop. It was a Genji, nano bladed. But yeah, so I'm going to bring it up more and more and more, but value your position of the high ground, and don't just run at people just to try to increase your accuracy. This is all decent stuff. The tire didn't get you. Get Anna. Nothing really of note there. The trap is to block the entrance. Yeah, but it's there's no point in blocking the entrance if you can't capitalize on the entrance. it's better just to throw it at the ground and trap someone that you can kill. Think more about trying to attack what's given to you rather than deliberately hunting for something. Kind of like this. You capitalize on it. And this is also another theme of yours, is that while you're moving, you're not keeping an eye on what's important. Let's go back. So like you could see the Hammond and the Genji there, and you just kind of run backwards. Like you should be able to do this while looking at your target. You do this a couple times where you don't focus on what's important while you're moving, and you can do both. Good zoning. This is kind of one of those times where it's like, where's that Genji at? Oh no, sorry, that's your Genji. You get surprised by an enemy Genji. I mean, there are very faint audio cues, but that shit happens all the time. Good news though, red Genji's better than blue Genji right here. You run marginally faster than the direction you're facing. That's correct. You run 10% faster. Well, I should say you move 10% slower when backpedaling. But in a lot of cases, in most cases, being able to attack the enemy will do more for you than having a 10% movement speed bonus when someone's chasing you. Also, one small note, this isn't a big thing, but when you're looking to deny an area in a door, and this is specifically a door. This is fine, I don't care. Just get rid of that goddamn Winston as fast as possible. So, oh, I can't even, I have to hit N to use my mouse cursor. Okay. So when you're trying to deny area in a door, not like the enemy's trying to, is like on the other side trying to get through, but when you're specifically trying to stop and punish people like right in the spot, I go for actually grenades on the ground rather than shooting through it and back over here. I'm sure other people, I think you can argue this anyway, but understand the objective is, with the Genji holding this door here, you just don't want anyone going through it more than just shooting through it and potentially missing out on some damage or at least some disruption. Because at least if you put them all on the ground right here, it will have a habit of bouncing people around and you'll be getting a little bit of extra damage off. It's not a major point, but just something very minor that I do when trying to hit something specifically in a door frame and not just through the door. You almost get that. And now, okay, you're still doing fine. This is all fairly standard stuff. There's the Genji kind of getting on top of you again. He does trap himself. You get tired. This is all fine and dandy. Zoning the Genji away from your supports, I mean, that's a critical thing to do. So you're doing that right. And nothing too big. Essentially, a couple people on your team died that you're just kind of casualty of. They pushed a lot of ground because they killed a member or two of your team. So nothing of note there. I've had those a lot. And here's one of the times, see like someone's over there, you jump down, you jump up, you use a lot of resources. If someone's on the other side of the map, just shoot at them a little bit and then pull back. Avoid trying to run at them. Again, like I said, this is a common theme that keeps on happening. I know that was bad. No, I know, Shadic. I'm just saying, like, I'm saying this one instance was bad, but understand that it shows a much larger trend, and that's what I'm trying to focus on. That's the difference between someone that like coaches and someone that just says what they see wrong in a review. Anyone can see what they see wrong in a review. It's someone that coaches to really show you, hey, look, like, you've done this same thing wrong 10 times differently, and this is a common thread that you have to work on. This is one of the big common threads you'll have to work on. So, good job taking the high ground. Again? Okay, good. I forgot if you jump down. You got something with the tire, and that's all it needed is in overtime, so. You guys are looking golden. Yeah, at this point, I either move up and trap, or if I trust my team. If I don't trust my team, then I will sit on the payload. And then Junkrat gets you, but then you get the Junkrat. Most importantly, you got the point. I will say, careful about taking some very. I'll just go back. Like I said, at this point, I would try to push up on a choke point and kind of camp it, obviously. You can pick one or two. Usually the high ground's the better one. It's also the closer one. It's also the more common one, and you're at a lower SR, so people will often go for the common answer. And while you go below, you get denied that. You go below, and I kind of get that. It's a good way to set up. There's nothing wrong with sitting back and just, you know, throwing a lot of damage on the choke point. Perfectly legit. Wait, so when were we able to share replays? It's been like 4 or 5 months. So you can't Reaper. I don't even. You play Reaper so little, I don't even take it into account. Not only that, you run into a blade, so it makes even less sense. You change to Pharah, and you try some stuff, and I'll just kind of run through this really quick, because nothing really works. You're trying. Rarely saves the Junkrat. Genji gets you. And there's so little time on Pharah or Reaper that I don't even consider it a thing. So, as for your Junkrat play, I've commentated on like just the mess ups that I see at the time, but again, the common thread is use your high ground advantage or use your positional advantage, and two, don't just run at an enemy to try and kill him. I know it takes a lot of faith to stay back and try to get work done, but it is possible, it's doable, and sometimes it's the best option. Jump up, get a little bit of a tricky kill. Again, right here, you kind of give up high ground for no reason. And giving up that high ground results immediately in your death. You're kind of YOLOing, trying to make something work there. And don't... It's fine to YOLO at lower ranks every now and then so you can figure out what can work and what can't work. Because later on, you're going to see some situations where, like, alright, this is unwinnable. And then you won't YOLO. But you don't know that until you attempt to YOLO. Here we are. This is great because you can see the payload. So you know where they're roughly going to be at. And I rarely mention this, but every now and then your accuracy, it does leave something to be desired, but that comes with time. I usually don't like that as an actual critique. This is all just Overwatch right here. They kill you on the route. That shit happens. I have way many answers, sadly. It takes a while to get used to them. A lot of this feels like a lot of the symptoms I see you do is like you're just not comfortable with the tools you're using. Like you really don't feel comfortable with, I'll just say mouse and keyboard, if that is what you're using, or it's what I assume you're using. Because some of the motions are just very odd. That's all. And now here is, it's like the worst or the best point, depending on who you are, to defend from. Also, stop. You do this every now and then. You're talking in chat. That shit'll get you killed. So you and Baptiste holding hands up here, doing good work. They don't really have a good hit scan to punish you, so stay up here as much as possible. But yes, you do exactly not that. And this is probably my biggest critique, is that you're giving up high ground, you're giving up the choke points. So, we'll just talk about this very quickly. There's 4 choke points. And while you're committing yourself heavily to one of them, which gives you a very large advantage for that singular choke point, you essentially make yourself weaker to 75% of the other choices that they can make, and since you're just chilling at one choke point, of course they're going to choose a different one. It's better to hedge your bets and stay up on the high ground and be able to moderately harass all options and force resources out for them to get to you, right? In this case, if you're against a good team, they can just push through this with like speed boost shield and they'll just kill you. You can also get dove on, even though it's a very short dive, or if they got some burst damage, it's very possible. Like Genji exists right now and he can kill you very, very quickly. So 1, don't play so far up, and again, 2, don't give up the high ground to get closer. This is the main thing that we're going to see in this video. I get you're trying to flank them, trying to do some sneaky stuff. But sneaky stuff is inherently risky. Now, you do get a lucky... Can't even say that shit was calculated. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with staying up here. Again, with the sound cues, Genji snuck up on you a couple times. And by snuck up, I mean like he shot you 2 or 3 times and then you finally realize what's going on. There's one time like the blade went off, you weren't really focusing on it. This is kind of the same thing where it's like sound cues and keeping what's important in view. You heard the Zarya ult. I'm assuming she caught something. Now, you're focused really far ahead. It's really hard to decide. I cannot factually state what is the better one to go for, but I will say probably focus, at least look at what's attacking whatever she grabs, and if not, then help your Winston. Because I get that maybe you're like, oh, I gotta help the Winston. My team can deal with whatever they grab, but that may not be the case. And all you have to do is look to figure it out. Again, you didn't check it out, so you actually you don't actually know what was caught or could have been caught. And then you're talking again. Well, shit will get you killed. And then bam, high ground. Perfect. They got routed, and then you just give up the high ground again. Like, at higher SR levels, that'll get you killed. Yeah, it's just lucky your Ashe killed everyone, because if they just... They all have mobility. Ball, Junkrat, Winston, Genji. If they just looked at how far you were forward, they would just turn and kill you. One way to use concussive blast. Just so happens you get 2 with that. And this time you do focus on the Zarya ult. Perfect. But their Nano Blade, I think, got too much of the advantage. You still get the Genji. Rally saves them. And you build up a little bit of ult. You tried. It's not too bad. But again, it all started from you giving up just the best positioning almost in Overwatch. Trap. Get a kill. I mean, even at that point, you don't really need to fall down from the spaceship. Or shuttle, I should say. And now, you're caught low ground with no mobility. Now, they don't punish you for it. But understand how someone could punish you. Almost get the kill. Could have been a nice tire, but you know. Still get the Genji. I mean, this is all still decent Junkrat work. But again, better positioning to start this entire thing off completely different fight. Good. You're getting support. Just bully the monkey away. That actually saves your Ashe, those 2 kills, so good job there. And then brick time. Almost got it. Almost got it. Almost got it. There we go. And probably the best part of the video.
30 seconds.
I don't mean to mock you, but I do. He goes for the glitch. Oh, the hubris. Oh, the hubris. Oh, what that tire could have done. You try to play dirty, and you got dirty. Again, I consider it a glitch. I don't do that at all. I don't recommend it because I don't like that. So, other Junkrats would disagree with me. In fact, most of them would disagree with me. And that's it.
Victory.
Trophy. You learned it from Aquamarine. I mean, I know he's doing it a lot, and he has success with it. But, you know, I don't recommend doing it. It does have its advantages, but I think doing it there, you're not really getting any advantage. Where Aquamarine uses it from is when essentially you drop it right on the head of the team. And I don't mean like, you thought like maybe you're doing it on like right above them. They all had full sight of you. I mean, I think they may have killed you before you even let it go, even if the tire didn't get destroyed first. We haven't done this in a while. Hold the phone. I don't even know this is the image I use. What the hell is that thing called? Was it Epic Pen? That's right. It was called Zoom It. So, hey, look where we're at. We're back at Apply. Let's see if I can remember how to use this. Okay. Okay, good. I was trying to suicide tire them. If I died, I could have been a massive tire since the hitbox falls to the ground. That's what I'm saying, Shadic. But the problem is you still have to let go of the tire before you die. I don't. That's what I'm saying. I don't even think you would have lived to release the tire, because your tire did technically absorb 100 damage. I think that was just the fire strike, though. Either way, you're cutting it close, man. I get that it's cool to cut it close, but at the same time, you could not cut it close and have a better chance at winning. So overall, it's really positioning that's your biggest issue in this review. And does it show up? Okay, cool. Oh, this is where I try to write again. I'm not writing high ground. I'm saying HG, high ground. Had been done it correctly, the tire must would not have taken any damage, but Junkrat himself would have. Right, Shadic. That's the thing. You still have to. You have a quarter-second release time after a tire gets let go. I'm pretty sure it's a second to a second and a half of channeling time. In which case, there's another quarter of a second after that where you can still be killed and it still detonates the tire. It still takes it back essentially. Either way, I don't want to argue semantics of, hey, if this tire works, you would have won. The fact is, you did a risky strat, and you lost because of it. And also, I hate people that say, well, if that would have worked, I would have won the game. The truth is that there was still 99% of the game that didn't boil down to that one moment, and if you did better at this 99%, then you wouldn't have been stuck in that one moment. But yeah, so the biggest issue, I think, is keeping the high ground, and that has to do with stop running at people. Ning. At people. People. And we've seen this a lot. I've seen this constant. People on my stream will tell you. There is no other issue that we have seen more from Junkrats than just running at people, trying to shotgun them down more or less. Zexian asks, would the other have high ground been better? Wait till they pass, then do the glitch. Yes, if you could hide on that high ground. I don't know if like the Genji would have caught him or anything like that. But again, try not... Again, this has to do with tips and tricks that we've talked about. Tips and tricks stop working at a certain level, and then when they don't work, you kind of get stuck with tools that you're not good with. So don't rely on these tips and tricks and sneaky shit to win a game, because, well, you'll lose games because of it. So positioning. By far, this is your biggest one. Information, sound cues, it seems you're not picking up on as much. We'll just do cues. Sound cues. This will set you up for the rest of everything else. Again, there's a couple times Genji got the slip on ya, which is fine. That happens. He's a sneaky son of a bitch. But other times it was like not looking at what your team was ulting. Like when the Zarya ulted, at least like give it a look back, shoot one shot at a stationary target. That can often lead to someone's death. Sound cues are very important, especially for a projectile hero. Another thing, since you only did this a couple times, but it's something I kind of want to note. Fight what's available. There's a couple times like you just kind of ran past stuff. It was essentially suicide because you wanted to get to like a juicier target. The most important thing in Overwatch is to survive. It's to live. Yes, suicide, some stuff can work at times, but surviving and providing more pressure is what can get your team a win. Yeah. And of course, there's the one like where you ran past everyone to kind of throw it at a choke point, a trap. You would have accomplished the same thing if you stayed on the high ground, threw a trap, shot once, concussive mind, and just left. Don't hunt for a target. You kind of did this when defending point 2, when you pushed up. Essentially, when they push through, you try to rotate on them. But they had a dive composition. You can't really rotate on a dive composition because as you rotate, they use their abilities to get extremely deep on your team. And when you get to their flank, they're already like 2-3 jumps away from you. And I think I wrote that down as well. Understand what you're fighting against. And this is also information. Viewer versus dive. So understand when you start committing to places without movement abilities. You did this a couple times. Essentially, like you mind jumped at them without a concussive mind to get out. Against any dive team, if you jump at them and you don't have a way out, they're going to jump on you and kill you. It's always going to happen. And it's not like any high skill level team that'll do it. It's anyone. They'll be like, Junkrat kind of just jumped at us and he's sitting there. Let's shoot him. And they will. So understand what you're playing up against and how that changes the matchup. Mainly about your resource utilization. What else do I got? I did put this. I hate saying this, but sometimes accuracy is important. Actually, accuracy is always important. But it's the one thing that you really can't focus on. Like, you kind of just keep on playing and you build up these mechanics. I guess my question to you is this your first FPS? Just because it seems like your comfort with the mouse and keyboard isn't the greatest. And then that has to do with, like, looking at what's an issue. Technically, yes, we've been playing for over 3 years. I get that, but understand that you've already most people have been playing games for, I mean, in my case, it was 2 decades. I'm immense, like, using a mouse and keyboard is just second nature to me now. You are coming in at a deficit if Overwatch is your first game, even if it was 3 years ago. 3 years is like maybe where we get past like just normally how to use a mouse and keyboard in a game. So that'll as you keep on playing. I know you put thousands of hours or 1,000 hours into Junkrat. Simply the tool in and out of the game, it'll help there. Understand. What is this word? I wrote notes and I can't read my own writing. It's like soul and reaching time. That makes no fucking sense. Maybe sensitivity's too high? Whatever he's comfortable with. I don't give feedback on sensitivity because I have the highest sensitivity ever. I learned to play with it. I just learned to deal with it and master it. I told you to lower yours. Well, shtick, I think you're just like, I'm going to have it at Chro sensitivity, and let's see how I do. And you're like, I can't play like this. I was like, well, lower it. Yeah, this is the main things I wanted to cover. What the fuck is... Oh! It's sound and reaction time. That's what the last one was. It wasn't soul and reaching time. Which we kind of discussed. Okay, cool. I covered that. But yeah. So these are the main things that I see wrong with you currently. Again, the worst offender is the positioning that you're just giving up cuz. I don't care what SR you're at. Junkrat always fights from a deficit. So use the high ground, use whatever you have to give yourself an advantage. Against dive, it is very risky to play up on them, because if your whole team's here, and you're chilling here, and they're all right here, you can move back, and so can they. You're always within reach of them. It's very dangerous to push directly on top of dive. Unless your team really knows what they're doing. Especially I'm just solo alone. It's so dangerous. They could have killed you 10 times over, I think. Just be very careful about that. If you stayed with your team on the high ground, then they have to expend a lot of resources to get to you. You can push them back. Yeah, or you can just disengage and fall back with your team. The important part is you force their hand, and now you can react to that properly. Another one, fight what's available. Sometimes you go way too deep, and you should just be fighting what's in front of you. Just versus dive. Nothing. We talked about you against dive. Just understand that when you go up against different compositions, it will change how you have to play. And then sound cues and reaction time. I kind of briefly covered that. That shit just comes with time. Understand it's available to you, and if you don't use it, that's your choice. But it's a tool for you to use, and you should use it. Did you have any other questions? Any cues? Anything? Nah, just that was one of my worst games. I have games where I do better. Well, I don't care if you do better. It's good to give a game where you do bad, because then we can see what your tendencies are. Am I doing more reviews after this? No. I apologize. Yeah. But that's the thing. You have to understand that just because you had a bad game doesn't mean like you're a bad player, but at the same time, it does. Usually when there's a terrible, terrible game, you're just missing something obvious. And it's actually more of a simple fix than anything else. It's games where you don't know what's going on or why you're doing poorly that are kind of the worst. And it's a bunch of little small things that you have to fix, and those are the difficult things to fix. Bad games are more useful to you than victories. I mean, in the case and point of learning, yes. You can learn a lot more from a loss than you can from a win. Again, we don't... This is why I've always done losses rather than wins, is that I don't give a fuck if you did good. Let's see where you did bad. So, no, it was a good game to review. Do you have... Like, you understand what I want you to focus on? Tough for mental health. Yeah. Losses are rough on mental health after, I don't know. It depends how you take them. Yeah. Okay. Cool.